Get started. I don't care if anybody here to listen or not. The word of Yah, which came to Joel, son of Bethuel. Hear this, O elders, and give ear, all inhabitants of the land. Was there such thing in your days or in the days of your forefathers? Tell your children about it, and your children to their children, and their children to another generation. What remained from the cutting locust, the abundant locust has devoured. What remained from the abundant locust, the chewing locust has devoured. And what remained from the chewing locust, the demolishing locust has devoured. Awaken, you drunkards, and weep, and wail, all you wine drinkers, over the fine wine that has been eliminated from your mouths. For a nation has come against my land, mighty and without number. Its teeth are the teeth of a lion, and it has the molars of a lion cub. It has rendered my vine desolate, and my fig tree a source of despair. It has stripped it of its bark, and discarded it. Its branches have turned white. Lament like a maiden girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. Meal offering and libation have been eliminated from the temple of Yah. The Kohanim, the ministers of Yah, mourn. The field has been plundered, the land destroyed, for the grain has been robbed, the wine dried up, and the oil devastated. Be ashamed, O plowmen. Wail, O vine dressers, over wheat and barley, for the harvest of the field had been lost. The vine has dried up, and the fig tree has been devastated. The pomegranate tree as well as the date tree and the apple tree. All the trees of the field have dried up, for rejoicing has dried up from among the sons of man. Gird yourselves with sackcloth and lament. Kohanim, wail, O ministers of the altar. Come spend the night in sackcloth, O ministers of my Elohim. For meal offering and libation have been withheld from the temple of your Elohim. Decree a fast, declare an assembly. Gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land to the temple of Yah, your Elohim, and cry out to Yah. Woe for that day, for the day of Yah is near, and like sudden plunder it will come from the Almighty. Is not food cut off from before our eyes, and happiness and exaltation from the temple of our Elohim? Casks of wine have become moldy under their lids. Storehouses are laid desolate and silos destroyed, for the grain has withered. How the animals groan, herds of cattle are bewildered, for there is no pasture for them. Also flocks of sheep were made desolate. To you, Yah, I call out, for fire has consumed the dwellings of the wilderness, and flame has scorched the trees of the field. Also the animals of the field cry out to you, for the springs of water have dried up, and fire has consumed the dwellings of the wilderness. Chapter 2. Blow the shofar in Zion, and sound the trumpet on my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yah has come, it is near. A day of darkness and thick darkness, a day of cloud and thick cloud, spreading over the mountains like the dawn, a numerous and mighty people. Its like has not been from eternity, and after it there will never again be, until the years of generation after generation. Before it a fire consumes, and after it a flame scorches. Before it the land was like the Garden of Eden, but after it a desolate desert. There is no remnant from it. Like the appearance of horses is its appearance, and like horsemen, so do they run. With a noise like chariots, they leap on the mountaintops. Like the sound of a flaming fire, consuming straw, like a mighty people arrayed for battle. Peoples tremble before it, all faces become blackened. They run like mighty men, they scale the wall like men of war. Everyone goes in his set way, and they do not corrupt their paths. A man does not press his fellow. Each one walks his course. They fall upon the sword, but are not wounded. They stride in the city. They run on the wall. They ascend into the houses. They come through the windows like a thief. Before it, land trembles. The heavens quake, the sun and moon become blackened, and the stars withdraw their shine. Yah has emitted his voice before the advent of his army. For his camp is very numerous. For those who carry out his word are mighty. For the day of Yah is great and very awesome. Who will be able to bear it? Even now, the word of Yah. Return to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with lamentation. Rend your hearts and not your garments, and return to Yah your Elohim. For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and of great kindness, and he relents of evil. Whoever knows, let him repent and regret, and it will leave a blessing behind it. For meal offering and libation to Yah your Elohim. Blow the shofar in Zion. Decree a fast, call an assembly, gather the people, summon the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the young children and sucklings. Let the bridegroom go forth from his chamber, and the bride from her canopy. Between the hall and the altar, let the Kohanim, the ministers of Yah, weep, and let them say, have pity, Yah, upon your people. Let not your heritage be of scorn, an object of scorn for nations to dominate them. Why should they say among the peoples, where is their Elohim? Then Yah will take up the cause of his land and take pity on his people. Yah will reply and say to his people, behold, I am sending you the grain and the wine and the oil, and you will be sated from it. And I will no longer make you a disgrace among the nations. I will I will distance the northern one from you, and I will banish it to an arid and desolate land, its face to the eastern sea, and its rear to the western sea. Its foul odor will ascend, and its stench will go out, for it has done great evil. Fear not, O land, exult and be glad, for Yah has done great kindness. Fear not, animals of the field, for the dwellings of the wilderness have become covered with grass, for the tree has borne its fruit. The fig tree and the vine have given forth their wealth. Children of Zion, exult and be glad with Yah, your Elohim, for he has given you a teacher of righteousness, for righteousness, and he has brought down the rain for you, the early rain and the late rain in the first month. The granaries will be filled with grain, and the vats will overflow with wine and oil. I will repay you for the years that the abundant locust, the chewing locust, and the demolishing locust, and the cutting locust, my great army that I sent among you, consumed. And you will eat, eating and being satisfied, and you will praise the name of Yah, your Elohim, who has acted wondrously with you, and my people will not be ashamed evermore. Then you will know that in the midst of Yasharal am I, and that I am Yah, your Elohim. There is no other, and my people will not be ashamed evermore. Shalom and chapter 3, Joel 3. And it will happen after this, that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your elders will dream prophetic dreams, and your young men will see visions. Even also upon the slaves and upon the maidservants in those days I will pour out my spirit. I will set wonders in the heavens and on earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun will turn to darkness, and the moon to blood, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yah. And it will be that anyone who calls on the name of Yah will escape. For on the mountain of Zion and in Jerusalem there will be refuge, as Yah said, and among the survivors who Yah summons. For behold, in those days and at that time, when I will bring back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will contend with them there concerning my people and my possession, Yasharal, that they dispersed among the nations, and they divided up my land, and they cast lots upon my people. They gave boys for harlots' feet, and they sold girls for wine and drank it. Also, what are you to me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the districts of Philistia? Are you paying requital to me? And if you are requiting me, swiftly and soon will I return your requital upon your head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and you have brought my desirable and good possessions to your palaces. And you sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, in order to distance them from their border. Behold, I will rouse them from the place to which you sold them, and I will return your requital upon your head. And I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they will sell them to Sabaeans, to a distant people, for Yah has spoken. Announce this among the nations. Prepare for war. Arouse the mighty men. Let all the men of war approach and ascend. Beat your plows and the swords and your pruning forks and the spears. Even the weak one will say, I am mighty. Let all the surrounding nations hurry and come, and let them gather together. There Yah will demolish your warriors. Let the nations rouse themselves and go out to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the nations from all around. That sound like where it say Dave, the house of David will be like Elohim, and the feeble one will be like David. When it said where is it at? Just read it. Oh yeah, even the weak one will say, I am mighty. Sound like that ties into that. Extend the sickle, for the harvest has ripened. Come and trample the grapes, for the winepress is full. The vats have overflowed, for the evil is great. Multitudes upon multitudes will fall in the valley of the final decision. For the day of Yah is near in the valley of the final decision. The sun and moon have become blackened, and the stars have withdrawn their shine. And Yah will roar from Zion and will emit his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and earth will tremble. But Yah will be a shelter for his people and a stronghold for the children of Yasharal. Thus you will know that I am Yah, your Elohim, who dwells in Zion, my holy mountain. Jerusalem will be holy, and aliens will no longer pass through her. And it shall be on that day that the mountains will drip with wine, the hills will flow with milk, and all the water courses of Judah will flow with water. And a spring will go out from the house of Yah and water the valley of Shittim. Egypt will become a desolation, and Edom will become a desolate wilderness because of the robbery of the children of Judah, for they shed innocent blood in their land. Judah will exist forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. Though I cleanse their bloodshed, I will not cleanse when Yah dwells in Zion. All right, now we're on Amos. The words of Amos, who was one of the herders of Tekoa, who saw visions concerning Yasharal in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, son of Joash, king of Yasharal, 2 years before the earthquake. He said, Yahweh will roar from Zion and emit his voice from Jerusalem, and the pastures of the shepherds will wither, and the best of the fertile fields will dry up. Thus say Yah, for 3 transgressions of Damascus I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them, for their threshing the Gilead with rods of iron. I will send fire into the house of Hazael, and it will consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. I will break the bow of Damascus, and I will eliminate inhabitants from Bekathaven, and the one who holds the scepter from Beth-Eden, and the nation of Aram will be exiled to Ker, say Yah. Thus say Yah, for 3 transgressions of Gaza I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them, for they're affecting the total exile by handing over escapees to Edom. I will send fire into the wall of Gaza, and it will consume its palaces. I will eliminate inhabitants from Ashdod, and the one who holds the scepter from Ashkelon. I will turn my hand repeatedly against Ekron, and the remnants of the Philistines will perish. Said Adonai Yahweh Elohim. Thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Tyre I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them, for they're delivering a total exile to Edom, not remembering the covenant of brothers. I will send fire into the wall of Tyre, and it will consume its palaces. Thus said Yah, for 3 transgressions of Edom I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them. For they're pursuing his brother with the sword and suppressing his mercy. His anger has slaughtered incessantly, and he has kept his fury forever. I will send fire into Teman, and it will consume the palaces of Basra. Thus said Yah, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them. For their splitting open the pregnant woman of the Gilead in order to broaden their own border. I will kindle a fire in the roll of Rabbah, and it will consume its palaces amidst trumpeting on the day of battle, with a whirlwind on the day of the tempest. Their king will go into exile, he and his officers together, say Yah. Chapter 2. Thus say Yah, for 3 transgressions of Moab I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them, for they're burning the bones of the king of Edom into lime. I will send fire into Moab, and it will consume the palaces of Kerioth, and Moab will die in a tumult, amidst trumpeting and the sound of the shofar. I will eliminate any judge from his midst, and I will kill all of his officers along with them, say Yah. Thus say Yah, for 3 transgressions of Judah I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them. For their despising the Torah of Yah, and not observing his statutes. Their falsehoods that their fathers followed have corrupted them. I will send a fire into Judah, and it will consume the palaces of Jerusalem. Thus say Yah, for 3 transgressions of Yasharol I have looked away, but for 4 I will not pardon them. For they're selling a righteous man for money, and a poor man for shoes. They aspire as they walk on the dust of the earth for the head of the poor, and they twist the judgment of the humble. A man and his father go to a maiden in order to desecrate my holy name. They recline on pawn garments beside every altar, and they drink the wine of victims they penalize in the temple of their gods. Yet I destroyed the Amorite from before them, the Amorite whose height was like the height of cedar trees, and who were mighty as oaks. And I destroyed his fruit from above and his roots from below. I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and I led you through the wilderness for 40 years to take possession of the land of the Amorite. I established some of your sons as prophets, and some of your young men as Nazarites. Is this not also so, O children of Yasharal? The word of Yah. But you gave the Nazarites wine to drink, and you commanded the prophets, saying, do not prophesy. Behold, I will encumber you in your place, just as a wagon full of sheaves is encumbered. Escape will elude escape will elude the swift one. The strong one will not muster his strength, and the mighty one will not save his soul. He who holds the bow will not stand. The swift of foot will not save himself. The rider of the horse will not save his soul. And the bold-hearted among the mighty will flee naked on that day. The word of Yah. Chapter 3. Hear this prophecy that Yah has spoken concerning you, children of Yasharal, concerning the entire family that I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you alone did I know from among all the families of the earth. Therefore I will hold you to account for all your iniquities. Do 2 people walk together unless they have so arranged? Does a lion roar in the forest if it has no kill? Does a young lion send forth his voice from his lair unless he has captured prey? Does a bird fall into a trap on the ground if it does not have a snare? Does the trap rise from the ground unless it has entrapped? Is the shofar ever sounded in the city and the people not tremble? Can there be a misfortune in the city if Yah had not brought it? For the Adonai Yahweh Elohim will not do anything unless he has revealed his secret to his servants, the prophets. A lion has roared, who will not fear? Adonai Yahweh Elohim has spoken, who will not prophesy? Announce atop the palaces of Ashdod and atop the palaces in the land of Egypt. Say, gather together on the mountains of Samaria and observe the great turmoils within it and the oppressed people in its midst. They do not know how to do right. The word of Yah. They store up violence and plunder in their palaces. Therefore, thus said Adonai Yahweh Elohim, an enemy encircling the land, and he will take your might down from you, and your palaces will be plundered. Thus said Yah, just as a shepherd can rescue from the mouth of a lion, but 2 legs or the cartilage of an ear, so shall be rescued from the children of Yasharal, who dwell in Samaria, but the corner of a bed and the edge of accounts. Listen and testify in the house of Jacob, the word of Adonai Yahweh Elohim, the Elohim allegiance. For on the day that I visit the transgressions of Yasharal against them, I will avenge the altars of Bethel. The corners of the altar will be cut off, and it will fall to the ground. I will strike the winter house along with the summer house. The houses of ivory will be lost, and many houses will be destroyed. The word of Yah. Chapter 4. Hear this prophecy, you cows of Bashan, who are on the mountain of Samaria, who oppress the poor, who crush the destitute, who say to their lords, bring so we may drink. Adonai Yahweh Elohim has sworn by his holiness that there are days coming upon you when you will be carried off on shields, and your posterity in fishing boats. Through breaches in the wall they flee, every woman straight ahead, and you will cast off your haughtiness. The word of Yah. Come to Bethel and rebel, and Gilgal rebel greatly. Bring your sacrifices every morning, your tithes for 3 days. Burn thanksgiving offerings of leavened bread, and announce and publicize voluntary offerings. For this is what you have loved to do, O children of Yasharal, the word of Adonai Yahweh Elohim. Also I have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and a lack of bread in all your places. Yet you have not returned to me, the word of Yah. Also I have withheld the rain from you 3 months before the harvest. And I brought down rain upon one city, but upon another city I did not bring rain. One area was rained upon, and the area that did not receive rain will wither. And 2 or 3 cities traveled to one city to drink water, but they were not sated. Yet you have not returned to me, the word of Yah. I have smitten your crops with wind blast and withering. The increase of your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees the locusts will consume. Yet you have not returned to me, the word of Yah. I have sent against you pestilence on the way to Egypt. I have killed your youths by the sword and carried away your horses. I have raised the stench of your camps even into your own nostrils. Yet you have not returned to me, the word of Yah. I have overturned among you as Elohim overturned Sodom and Gomorrah. You were like a brand salvaged from burning, yet you did not return to me, the word of Yah. Therefore, thus will I do to you, O Yasharal, and because I do this to you, prepare to go towards your Elohim, Yasharal. For behold, he forms mountains and creates winds. He recounts to a person what were his deeds. He turns the dawn into darkness and tramples upon the heights of the earth. Yah Elohim Allegiance is his name. Chapter 5. Hear this pronouncement that I recite over you in lamentation, O house of Yasharal. She has fallen and will no longer rise, virgin of Yasharal. She has been abandoned upon her soil, with no one to lift her up. For thus said Adonai Yahweh Elohim, the city from which 1,000 people go forth will be left with 100, and one from which 100 people go forth will be left with tens of the house of Yasharal. For thus said Yah to the house of Yasharal, seek me and live. Do not seek Bethel, and do not go to Gilgal, and do not traverse Beersheba, for Gilgal will be completely exiled, and Bethel will become nothingness. Seek Yah and live, lest he burn through the house of Joseph like a fire, and consume Bethel with none to extinguish it. O you who turn justice to wormwood, and lay righteousness upon the ground. He is the one who made Pleiades and Orion, who turns blackness to morning and darkness the day into night, darkens the day into night, who summons the waters of the sea and pours them upon the face of the earth. Yahweh is his name. He is the one who grants a robber one power over the mighty, a robbed one power over the mighty, and a robbed one will prevail over a fortress. They despise the one who admonishes by the gate, and the one who speaks purely they detest. Therefore, because you trample upon the poor and exact a burden of grain from him, you have built houses of hewn stone, but you will not dwell in them. You have planted delightful vineyards, but you will not drink their wine. For I know that your transgressions are many, and your sins are substantial. O oppressors of the righteous person, takers of ransom, who distort the justice of the destitute by the gate. Therefore, the prudent man keeps silent at that time, for it is a time of evil. Seek good and not evil, so that you may live. And Yah, Elohim Allegiance, will indeed be with you as you said. Despise evil and love good, and establish justice by the gate. Then perhaps Yah, Elohim Allegiance, will grant favor to the remnant of Joseph. Therefore, it's thus say Yah, Elohim Allegiance, the Adonai. In all the plazas will be mourning, and in all the streets they will exclaim, woe, woe. They will call the plowmen to mourning, and those skilled in wailing to lamentation. And in all the vineyards there will be lamentation, for I will pass through your midst, say Yahweh. Woe to those who desire the day of Yah. Why do you seek this day of Yah? It is darkness and not light. And when a man flees from before the lion and a bear encounters him, and he comes home and leans his hand on a wall, and a snake bites him, behold, the day of Yah is darkness and not light, blackness without glimmer. I hate and loathe your festive offerings, and I will not be appeased by your assemblies. For even if you offer up to me burnt offerings and your meal offerings, I will not be appeased, and I will not regard the peace offering from your fatlings. Remove from before me the multitude of your songs and the music of your lutes. I will not hear. Rather, let justice be revealed like water, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Did you bring sacrifices and meal offerings to me for 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Yasharal? You will carry off Succoth your king, and your images of Chion, and the Kokav your God, which you made for yourselves, and I will exile you to beyond Damascus. Say Yah, Elohim of legions is his name. Chapter 6. Woe to the serene people. Oh, I need a drink. Woe to the serene people in Zion and the secure people in Mount Samaria. They are called the foremost of the nations, but the house of Yasharal came among them. Cross over to Calneh and see, and go from there to Great Hamath and descend to Gath of the Philistines. Are they better than these kingdoms? Is their border greater than your border? Woe to you who spurn the day of evil, while you convene sessions of injustice, who lie on ivory couches, stretched out on their beds, eating the fattened sheep of the flock and calves from inside the stall, who sing along to the tune of the lute, considering themselves like David with their musical instruments, who drink wine out of bowls, anoint themselves with choicest oils, and are not pained by the destruction of Joseph. Therefore they will not now be exiled at the head of the exiles, and the banquets of the haughty will cease. Adonai Yahweh Elohim has sworn by himself, the word of Yah Adonai allegiance. I loathe the glory of Jacob, and I detest his palaces, and I will deliver the city and its inhabitants. It will happen that even if 10 men remain in one house, they will die, and his kinsman who saves him from burning will carry him to take the bones from the house. And he will say to the one who is at the far end of the house, are there any more live people near you? And he will say, none. And he will say, remove them, for they were not wont to mention the name of Yah. For behold, Yahweh commands, and he will shatter the large house into fragments, and small houses into chips. Do horses gallop on a rock? Can one plow it with cattle? That you have turned justice into hemlock, and the fruit of righteousness into wormwood? You who rejoice over nothingness, you who say, behold, with our strength we have taken power for ourselves. For behold, I am bringing up a nation against you, O house of Yasharal, the word of Yah, Elohim allegiance, and they will distress you from the approach to Hamath to the Araba brook. Chapter 7. Thus did Adonai Yahweh Elohim show me. Behold, he was forming a swarm of locusts as the later growth was beginning to sprout. And behold, the later growth appeared after the king's reaping. It was when it was finished devouring the grass of the earth that I said, Adonai Yahweh Elohim, please forgive. How will Jacob survive, for he is small? So Yahweh relented concerning this. It shall not be, said Yahweh. Thus did Adonai Yahweh Elohim show me. Behold, the Adonai Yahweh Elohim was summoning his legions to contend with Yasharal by fire. And they consumed the great depths and devoured the portion of land. And I said, Adonai Yahweh Elohim, please refrain. How will Jacob survive, for he is small? So Yahweh relented concerning this. It too shall not be, said Adonai Yahweh Elohim. Thus did he show me. Behold, the Adonai standing on a plumbed wall with a plumb line in his hand. And Yahweh said to me, "What do you see, Amos?" I said, "A plumb line." Then Adonai said, "Behold, I am placing a plumb line in the midst of my nation, Yasharal. I will no longer continue to forbear them. The high places of Isaac will be made desolate, and the sanctuaries of Yasharal destroyed. And I will rise up against the house of Jeroboam with the sword." Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent word to Jeroboam, king of Yasharal, saying, "Amos has conspired against you in the midst of the house of Yasharal. The land cannot tolerate all his words. For thus did Amos say, Jeroboam will die by the sword, and Yasharal will be exiled from upon his land." Amaziah then said to Amos, "Seer, go flee to the land of Judah, eat bread there, and there you may prophesy, but do not continue to prophesy in Bethel, for it is the sanctuary of the king and the seat of royalty." Amos replied and said to Amaziah, "I am not a prophet, nor am I the son of a prophet, but I am a cattle herder and an examiner of sycamores. Yah took me from behind the flock, and Yah said to me, Go prophesy to my people, Yasharal. And now hear the word of Yah. You say, Do not prophesy concerning Yasharal, nor preach about the house of Isaac. Therefore, thus saith Yah, your wife will be promiscuous in the city, and your sons and daughters will fall by the sword, and your land will be divided up by lot. You will die on contaminated soil, and Yasharal will surely be exiled from his land. Chapter 8. Thus did Adonai Yahweh Elohim show me, behold, a basket of summer fruits. And he said, What do you see, Amos? I replied, A basket of summer fruits. Yah then said to me, The end has come from my people, Yasharal. I will no longer continue to forbear them. They will wail the songs of the banquet hall on that day, the word of Adonai Yahweh Elohim. And there will be many corpses in every place, cast away, removed. Hear this, you who devour the needy, decimating the poor of the land, saying, When will the month pass, so that we can sell grain? The sabbatical year, so we can open the stores of grain, reduce the ephah and increase the shekel, and distort scales of deceit, to purchase the poor with silver and the destitute for shoes, and we will sell the refuse of grain. Yahweh has sworn by the glory of Jacob, I will never forget all their deeds. And should not the land quake for this, and all its inhabitants will be destroyed? Water will rise like the river over all of it, and it will push aside and submerge the land as does the river of Egypt. This damn, he blasting Japheth music over there. And it shall be on that day, the word of Adonai Yahweh Elohim, that I will bring down the sun at midday, and I will darken the land on the day of light. I will turn your festivals into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make the land as if in mourning for an only son, and its end like a bitter day. Behold, days are coming, the word of Adonai Yahweh Elohim, when I will send hunger into the land, not a hunger for bread, nor a thirst for water, but to hear the words of Yah. People will travel from sea to sea and from north to east. They will wander about to seek the word of Yah, but they will not find it. On that day, the beautiful virgins and the young men will faint from thirst. Those who swear by the idol of Samaria and say, By the life of your God, Dan, and by the life of the Beershebaites, and they will and they will fall and not rise again. Chapter 9. I saw Adonai standing upon the altar, and he said, Strike the lintel, and the side posts will quake, and shatter the head of them all, and the rest of them I will slay by the sword. No fugitive among them will flee, and no refugee among them will escape. If they dig down into the grave, from there my hand will take them. And if they ascend to the heavens, from there I will bring them down. If they hide on the top of Carmel, from there I will seek them out and take them. And if they conceal themselves from my eyes on the floor of the sea, from there I will command the serpent, and it will bite them. Boy. If they go into captivity before their enemies, from there I will command the sword, and it will slay them, and I will fix my eye upon them for evil and not for good. The Adonai Yahweh Elohim, master of legions, he touches the land and it melts, and all its inhabitants are destroyed, and water rises like the river over it, and it becomes submerged, as under the river of Egypt, who built his strata in the heavens and founded his group upon the earth, who calls to the waters of the sea and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Yahweh is his name. Behold, you are like the children of the Cushites to me, O children of Yasharal. The word of Yah. Did I not bring up Yasharal from the land of Egypt, as well as the Philistines from Kaftor and Aram from Ker? Behold, the eyes of Adonai Yahweh Elohim are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from upon the face of the earth. But I will not totally destroy the house of Jacob. The word of Yah. For behold, I decree that I will shake out the house of Yasharal among all the nations, as grain is shaken in a sieve, and not a pebble falls to the ground. They will perish by the sword, all the sinners of my people, those who say, not because of us will the evil approach any more. On that day I will raise up the fallen booth of David. I will repair their breaches and raise up its ruins, and I will build it up as in days of old, so that they upon whom my name is called may inherit the remnant of Edom and all the nations. The word of Yah, who shall do this. Behold, days are coming, the word of Yah, when the plowman will meet the reaper, and the treader of grapes will meet the one who carries the seed. The mountains will drip juice, and all the hills will melt. I will return the captivity of my people Yasharal, and they will rebuild desolate cities and settle them. They will plant vineyards and drink their wine. They will cultivate gardens and eat their fruits. I will plant them among their land, and they will never again be uprooted from their land that I have given them, says Yahweh, your Elohim. Never ever. Somebody got some explaining to do. All right, ObadiYaH. The vision of ObadiYaH. Thus said Adonai Yahweh Elohim concerning Edom. We have heard tidings from Yahweh, and a messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, Arise, and let us rise up against her for battle. Behold, I have made you inferior among the nations. You are very despised. The wickedness of your heart has misled you. You who dwells in the clefts of the rocks in his lofty abode, who says in his heart, Who can bring me down to earth? Even if you raise your nest like an eagle, or if you place your nest among the stars, I will bring you down from there. The word of Yah. If thieves have come upon you, if plunderers of the night, how utterly you are cut off. Would they not steal only they had enough for themselves? If grape harvesters would come to you, would they not leave over gleanings? How has Esau been searched, his hoards revealed? All the men of your covenant escorted you unto the border. The men at peace with you misled you and prevailed over you. Those who eat your bread made a wound in your place. There is no understanding in him. Behold, on that day, the word of Yah, I will eradicate wise men from Edom and understanding from the mount of Esau. Your mighty ones to the south will be broken, so that every man will be cut off from the mount of Esau by the slaughter. For the oppression of your brother Jacob, disgrace will envelop you, and you will be cut off forever. On the day that you stood from afar, on the day that strangers captured his wealth, and foreigners came to his gates and cast a lottery on Jerusalem, you too were like one of them. Gaze not on the day of your brother, the day of his estrangement, and rejoice not over the children of Judah on the day of their destruction, and do not expand your mouth on the day of misfortune. Enter not the gate of my people on the day of their calamity. Gaze not, you too, upon his evil on the day of his calamity, and do not extend your hands to his wealth on his day of his calamity. Stand not by the crossroads to cut off his fugitives, and deliver not his survivors on the day of misfortune. For the day of Yah upon all the nations is close. As you have done, so shall be done to you. Your requital shall return upon your head. For just as you drank on my holy mountain, so will all the nations drink ceaselessly. They will drink and be confounded, and become as if they never were. On Mount Zion there will be refuge, and it will be holy. And the house of Jacob will inherit those who have dispossessed them. The house of Jacob will be fire, the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for straw, and they will ignite them and devour them. There will be no survivor to the house of Esau, for Yah has spoken. And those of the south land will inherit the mount of Esau. And those of the lowlands will inherit the Philistines, and they will inherit the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin will inherit Gilead. This exiled host of the children of Yasharal, who are among the Canaanites until Zarephath, tripping, until Zarephath, and the exiled Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, will inherit the cities of the south. And saviors will ascend Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau, and the kingdom will be Yahweh's. Right. Yeah, I gotta get off here soon, but we can continue tomorrow morning sometime. So we can read all day if you want to. Get this thing done. But definitely tomorrow night I might do a morning. I know Face does morning, but I might do a evening. I mean a noon and the evening reading, or we can read whatever tomorrow. I don't do nothing on Shabbat. We can definitely be done and get this new Torah cycle started by next Saturday. Shit. I don't see why we can't finish in a week. But yeah, I'm about to head out. Appreciate you coming through. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Y'all bless you all. All right, bro. Shalom.